right to the upper left-hand side, kicking us off in this PvZ. This is the red Protoss player, Cyan. And we do have to the bottom right-hand side our blue Zerg player, of course, from Sweden. It's Namshar. Subcoma Duster saying he's doing good, keen for some StarCraft 2 today. I'm always keen for some StarCraft 2 myself. I'm not gonna lie, if you guys weren't here earlier, I was streaming some of the premium arcade, and I really enjoyed it. I actually had a fantastic time playing Arcstar, which is like a turn-based RPG, and also playing, what else did I play? I played Direct Strike for a couple of hours. It was so fun. It was really awesome. So really had a great time earlier. If anyone has, okay, now that I've played Arcstar, I'm really in the mood to play some more like turn-based RPG games. So if anyone has any suggestions or any ideas as to what you might want to see, or, you know, not what you want to see, but if you have any ideas of good turn-based RPG games to play, I'd love to try some out. Because I haven't really played many in my life, and I think I found like a newfound like enjoyment. Maybe it's just a one-time thing, maybe it isn't, but if you got any suggestions, I'd be happy to hear them. Otherwise, let's talk about this series, because we're obviously underway already. And getting a look in to see what is going to be going on already in Adept, being Corona boosted out of the natural expansion. And Cyan just getting set up here with another probe coming forwards to drop down the Twilight in the main base. Twilight Council coming down in the main, so going to not be a Stargate opening, which is nice to see something just a little bit different here. Even if it is just the Resonating Glaives, it's still a difference. It's still something that isn't just the same old, this build is, this build or die trying sort of style, which we've seen again and again and again lately in Protoss vs. Zerg. I'm up for something fresh. I'm up for something different, so let's see what we have brought into play here. As we see just Crypt Tumor dropping down, Queen pushing out, there's Adept starting to move on forwards, and is going to take a little bit of damage here. We are, meanwhile, also having the warp gate just about halfway done, and we do have a couple more probes just coming on out. Pneumatized Carapace starts up in the main, and there's a hatchery coming down to the left-hand side. So, from Namshar, it's very standard, and there's the Resonating Glaives as we expect this to be. Not really many other builds you see off of a fast Twilight Council like this, apart from maybe the super fast Dark Shrine or something. So, Resonating Glaives makes a lot of sense here. Does kill one of the first two Adepts, and he'll get the second one as well, because Cyan is not shading away just yet. We'll start to shade off to the right-hand side now, as we see the Lings picking up that kill. And we do have Namshar continue to come in through the center and towards that upper left side. Well, Rotron drops down in the back of the natural expansion, so Namshar begins to put this down over here. As we do see more and more of these Zerglings coming across, and again, it's a few Lings, but they're not really going to get much done. If they could kill this Adept, that'd be amazing. Even that is unlikely, right? With the Shade coming through the pylon to then block again. And again, it forces a pylon, it forces the Adept back, it forces the correct response. It checks to make sure Cyan's not going to mess that up, which he doesn't. There wasn't really much potential there at the, from the get-go anyways, really, if I'm going to be honest. Probe facility to follow this up as well. The first Adepts should be starting to warp in very shortly here and really starting to get ready to go across the map. He actually warps in two Stalkers in the main, looking to push back that Overlord. I wonder if he's just going to look towards a faster Mortal here and maybe some Sentry Warpins to turn this into a bit of an aggressive two-base play. Because this isn't really the sort of number of Adepts you'd expect to see with a Resonating Glaives build so far. So maybe just trying to fake Namshar out and kind of get him to overreact to nothing. Well, then instead kind of, getting a couple of Mortals out maybe and pushing very early. Something along those lines would be quite interesting, as we are going to see Lings getting us around on a couple of those Adepts. Roaches continue to come on over, and they are going to be able to clean those out. So the Adepts get taken down. There's that Immortal on the way up. Now he's got a probe on position on this base over here, but is he actually going to expand? Is he going to put down the Nexus? Honestly, I would be kind of surprised if he did, because I guess that's a very bold statement. I'm kind of surprised if he did. I guess what would be better to say is I'd be kind of surprised if he actually used this, but he is making another couple of probes. He's going to get full saturation here in a moment. We'll see if he goes beyond full saturation, aka whether he's going to start saturating this base over to the right-hand side. I think that's the real telltale sign. We see the Sentries. We have the Immortal. This looks exactly like a very aggressive attack here from Cyan. Namshar sees this as well. And again, Sentries are a sign of aggression. The force fields to kind of cut units or armies in half. Namshar just responded with a lot of units himself. He goes up to 57 workers, so a slight income lead while he starts to spam out a whole bunch of roaches. Not full saturation on this third base over here. Just trying to get that going. Ooh, he does add on a few more drones. That's a little bit cheeky. It's a little bit sly. Just in the face of danger, adding on some extra workers. And the Hydra is done as well. We'll see if Cyan can punch this. There's the 5 extra gateways. And you can see here still, he has got 48 probes, which means he'll have a couple of workers on this base. I mean, it's not kind of a complete cut, but he isn't making any more right now. He is prioritizing gateways. So I know I'm sort of like seesawing between opinions here as to what this is, but it definitely is in the end going to be full on aggressive, it seems. As you will see, the hallucinated Phoenix actually comes in to push that Overlord away, but doesn't quite get the kill. Again, that's just information Namshar's picked up throughout this game. No Phoenix just means this Overseer has been picking up information throughout the main base and throughout the natural as well for, for all this time. And that really does suck just a little bit as well, as we do see. Some Ling's going to counter-attack into the third as well, and Cyan for a moment thinks about going back to deal with it, but now he's going to continue forwards, which I kind of feel like he has to do here. But he's lost 2 Adepts trying to warp in already, and now 2 more warp in, but fully surrounded. And he actually target fires on one of them. If he targeted both, maybe he would have gotten a little bit more success there. Either way, this main army's getting set up. Maybe a warp in of Adepts here to reinforce it, because he doesn't have many Adepts. Right now it's almost pure Sentry, whereas the Adepts are meant to be here. They're meant to be that kind of reinforcing factor. The factor that actually puts out quite a lot of damage because they do have resonating glaives. Although against such a roach-heavy army, they'll be more about kind of being the tanky units, the units which kind of sit there and take the damage while the Immortals really begin to dish it out. Hallucination dealt with in the main as Cyan trying to pick up some information as well. You'll see now the size of that army, and corrosive bars do not come down towards the Warp Prism, which you could usually expect. You'll see those couple of force fields being blocked off here, and Namshar just breaking through them to keep on engaging. Backs away momentarily, another few force fields coming down. Corrosive bars coming down to split up those force fields. And again, another few dropping into play here. We're going to see an Immortal taken down as well. A couple more Adepts and Sentries can also drop momentarily. As you see, those Adepts will cancel their shades. And we do still have the Roaches just pouring out of Namshar. Chasing forwards here. He's going to be able to get himself potentially the Immortal, definitely the Adepts. Okay, 2 of the Adepts shade away, but the rest of this is cleaned up. Namshar, he had a really good read on this, I think. I think seeing the Sentries, the Overseer, the Overlord initially was obviously very, very powerful. And that was something which he was able to take delivered when you get some Sneak, which you can get with a 10% discount when you purchase through my affiliate link when you type in !Sneak. And every single purchase goes towards supporting this tournament and others. Guys, to the bottom left-hand side, our Blue Zerg. This is Namshar. He's also going up against the red Protoss player in the upper right corner. It's Cyan. Okay then, guys. Thanks so much for joining us already here. 500 people tuning in. Is my Twitch chat alive? I have to say Twitch chat's very quiet, so I'm not sure. But I mean, I have been seeing people talk. Are you guys out there? Are you guys alive? Are you guys okay? Are you guys in Twitch chat? Is Twitch chat down? Oh my gosh. That would be something. What are we going to do if Twitch chat's down? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Oh dear. What am I going to do without being able to ban people and rage at people? What are my mods going to do? They need to ban like 10 people a day, otherwise they starve. Oh god. Oh god. If you like to see Innovation Home Story Cup, spam Kappa and Wardy's chat now. Alright. So, as we kick this off, just waiting to see how this is going to go, waiting to see what's going to be happening over the next couple of moments. Couple of queens coming on out, and a few lings just on the way. We're having a little bit of banter here, me and Naruto, as you guys can tell, because we can't see you guys. Alright, alright. Chat was working, but I think it has gone down because you guys have gone insanely quiet. Oh dear. Well, that's so weird. I don't like casting without Twitch chat. It feels as though no one's actually there. Well, okay guys. I guess you are there, so even though you can't annoy me and spam and tell me I suck, or, you know, find romance in the chat, whatever you guys usually do, the games are still here for you all to enjoy, and we do see the Stargate from Cyan. Currently on the way up in the main base, so setting up into the Stargate, a bit more of a standard opening here. I mean, the Resonating Glaive is a standard opening, it's just less commonly used than the Stargate opening. So, Stargate is much more, you know, is exactly what we would expect. You know, I'd say 8 times out of 10, you probably see a Stargate opening in PvZ nowadays. It really is by a large margin the most popular build. And obviously, there's a little bit of freedom as to what you do after the Stargate, but in reality, I don't think there's that much freedom at all. Or there is freedom, but you don't really see people taking advantage of it, because so often you just see the Robo starts, then the Twilight, then we see Charge Lots and Immortals and Archons and the Warp Prism with Archon drops initially, and it just goes the way you expect it to. And yes, there's a couple of ways it changes up. Yes, sometimes you see that sort of scenario where you have a, you know, maybe like a couple of, you know, sometimes you have that sort of scenario maybe where you have, what am I trying to say? You have that scenario where, like, you know, you go 4 gates and charge lots rather than, you know, 6 gates. And you take the third Nexus a bit faster. But it's usually the same idea, you know, it's the same composition. It's the same set of buildings pretty much every time. So, with that said, we do see a couple of Overlords have been pushed away by a Stalker of all things, because actually there's no Phoenix just yet. Even though Namshar saw the Stargate, you see the first Oracle across the map, and we got a little bit of a clip of Artosis as we go into the vision of Cyan there for just a moment. So, Namshar there just a moment. Just checking again, he saw the Stargate, which he did. And now we see the Phoenix on the way up, but Overlord speed in play. We'll see if he can actually pick up any of these kills on these low health Overlords. Adepts coming through, and they're going to be able to take down a couple of Zerglings. So, a couple of things going to be shot down here, as we do see the 2 Oracles just sat overhead. And we do have the Phoenix just fighting against this Overlord as well. Whoa! I see someone in Twitch chat! Twitch chat's alive! Woo! Hi guys, what's up? How we doing? I see one person in Twitch chat at least. Ooh, I'm glad it's back. I was worried without it. Anyways, did you see the Oracles just working their way through these few Zerglings? And we are going to be seeing the first Oracle goes down though. So an Oracle already falling. That's a little bit of a shame. This was interesting by side. You know, I talked so much about how this was a bit of a weirder build. He goes, you know, how into, you know, expecting a standard build. But this is a bit weirder. He had it on 2 gateways. He throws down a Robo facility now. It's almost like he's going into an aggressive follow-up with these sentries coming in already. It's interesting. It isn't the, you know, it isn't the Twilight, you know, Robo Archon drop into charge sort of setup that I talked so much about just then. This is something a little bit different. So I'm intrigued to see what comes of it. I mean, now we see the Twilight and the Forge coming down, which makes sense after the Robo. I mean, you want all of those structures at some point here. Just going as an observer, it just looks like he's trying to play macro on this, you know, setup of bases. It doesn't look as though in reality it's going to be anything all too crazy, as we see the Overseer heading in towards the main base. Going to be having a little bit of a look around as the Oracle comes in, drops a Revelation onto the main base location. So, drops that down. And we do see the Oracle just sitting a little bit off from the main. So, Oracle just off to the side here. Not going to be doing too much else. You see the Hydras are doing a little bit of damage to the Oracle. Oracle actually does get taken down. A 4th hatchery from Namshar currently building as well. And we do have the few extra gateways on the way up. Templar Archives also currently building. And yeah, I mean, again, eventually this still looks as though, you know, kind of what we would expect it to look like. You know, with the Warp Prism. But it's not quite Archon drops, right? It's just it's a different way of getting to the same general idea of how you're going to play out this PvZ. So, yeah, I'm down for that. I'm down to see kind of different ways of getting into what we usually expect to see. Does anyone know what Cyan ping is? So, actually, interestingly enough, Namshar offered to play this matchup on the NA server, even though by rules we play on Europe. But Cyan declined because he said there is no difference for me playing on Europe or NA, because they both just give me 250 plus ping. So, there you go. He's on 250 plus ping apparently, and he doesn't really care whether he plays on Europe or America. Well, we are going to be seeing the Queens down here are going to get the Warp Prism kill. That's a great snipe, but on the plus side, at least it wasn't Archons inside. You know, if that was Archons, that's a much more expensive Warp Prism to lose. As a Depth, yeah, it sucks. It definitely takes away a lot of your map control and a lot of your ability to kind of keep Namshar back. But I'd also say it's got some positives to it as well. I'd say, it's the better of two evils. Like, if you have a choice, you lose a Warp Prism with 2 Archons or a Warp Prism with 4 Adepts, you choose the 4 Adepts almost every single time. We are going to be seeing this set of rocks taken down here, and Archon, Immortals, Zealots moving forward. Storm is ready, so you might see a little bit of an engagement here. Looks like Cyan is hunting for an engagement. Namshar too. What happens when both players want to fight into each other? Well, I think Namshar just pulls back. He's like, okay, if you're so confident about fighting, I'll just pull back further onto creep, get my reinforcements here. It's only going to get better for me as I pull further back, because I have more advantages to gain with creep spread, reinforcements, etc. So I don't think Namshar's going to jump on the fight if he's offered it. And we are going to be seeing, meanwhile, those Zerglings, a few of them going around the map, so maybe a little bit of a run by to distract. I mean, Namshar here can fight, right? Because he's got so much. He splits it into the concave instantly, dodges the first storm. Second storm, he dodges as well. Wow, he walks back into it for just a moment, just because he's so eager to get forwards here. Another storm, but it really is just a warning storm coming down in front of the army. And so none of those initial storms connect, and that's terrifying for Cyan because, now he's lost a lot of potential DPS on this army already. He has to be careful that, to make sure he does have enough AoE to take all of this down. I mean, that was, 3 storms that, none of which were able to actually do that much damage. None of which were able to do that much damage. So, with that said, we do have Cyan still pushing. And Namshar, he's still counter-attacking as well, coming up to the top side, going to run in towards the natural. Looks like his bottom side 5th base will just be given up here. He has a lot more Banes on the way, by the way. 25 more Banelings he's already got. Like, he's going to have 57 Banelings without Baneling speed. It's a hell of a lot. These Hydras are starting to push on through this main base right now, so yeah, we'll start getting a little bit there. He actually forces the recall, which is very nice. I mean, that takes away a lot of time where now Cyan cannot really be aggressive once more, so it gives Namshar time to set up another base. You can take the top left-hand side, or you can double expand down to the south. That makes some sense as well. As we do see the +2 upgrades coming in as well. Infestation Pit getting ready for that Hive Tech also. And we are going to be having Namshar continuing up through the center of the map now. Try and see what we can do next. Now we do see, a few Archons, a couple of Immortals. There's not a ton of tech units. It's a lot of Storms now, though. Some Queens wander into this to begin with. That's obviously not too pretty. And we are just going to be seeing more units continuing up in the upper left-hand side. Some Banes come through and kill a couple of Zealots. And you just see a Storm coming down. Doesn't hit anything apart from his own Archons here. Banes continuing on forwards. Another couple of Storms coming down. I'm not sure what this lag is, by the way, guys. This is horrendous. I don't know what to tell you. This is just... I'm seeing this frame drops myself. My ping is 120. That's not normal. We're in Europe. Why is my ping so high? Anyways, we see the Storms coming down. I think the story of this game is that the Storms just never seem to be connecting. As you see Namshar coming in from a couple of angles. He's going to hit all of the High Templar. And that might just be the disaster which sees Namshar take the first series of this game, of this tournament, of this group, 2-0, because that was explosive. The Banes connected on all of the High Templar. They went down almost instantly. As Namshar continues to push on forwards, pushes up this ramp to the right-hand side. Oh, dear. I think we're starting to see a little bit of the ping of Cyan really come into play right now. Pushing forwards, so many more workers are just dropping. And we're going to see a few Banes do pull off to the side. I'm going to do a little bit more, but this really is very much so over for game number 2. Namshar has way too much here. To the south, there's a successful attack from Cyan. He gets some damage done, but there's no way he holds on to this. Very soon his third base is going to be under